Audacious, but brilliant! Mule with it, Wood's got round the back, and Richie Wood has done it again! The magic man has come up with another trick! Well, here's a chance to seal it, it's done! It's Georgie Kelly! Rotherham United's pathway back to the Championship is opening up!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast, and the Championship's back. The Millers have been in action, mate. Back in the Championship.
I know, it's just bizarre, isn't it? Bizarre.
So we'll cover that. We'll cover the referee, some individual performances, how we thought Swansea did. Some brilliant performances from some Rotherham players, well, nearly all the Rotherham players, to be fair. Ben, did you enjoy it? Are you in a better mood than last time, or
what, the game?
Were you in a better mood? No,
What,
yeah,
today?
was the game in a better mood than last time? Yeah, because that
No,
makes sense.
today. I mean after the game or today.
Just now, mate.
I'm in a good mood,
not.
yeah. I'm in a
Don't
good
worry
mood
about
now.
it.
I am now.
Why now, mate? Go and tell everybody.
Because England have just won the Euros.
We did. Congratulations to the Lionesses for being European champions. I think for the first time they've ever been European champions. Fully deserved. I enjoyed the Germans getting very upset with. England reminded me a lot of Rotherham because they were just trying to upset the Germans. That's what Rotherham was trying to upset the other team. I was very happy about that.
Listen, it was a cracking game. It was a cracking game, and to be fair, I think for the most part England were the better team. Obviously, Germany had periods where they were in the game, and you just felt, at 1-1, we're going to still dominate a game and then end up losing, as England tend to do. But not this team. Impressive, properly impressive.
Yeah. Congratulations to them for follow up a World Cup win, and whenever the Women's World Cup is. So actually, that's a couple of years away.
Yeah, no pressure.
Intuit mentions that. Power UK mentions it. Gav Grundy says up the Millers and England. What a win for that was fantastic tournament. Talking of the Women's Euros as well. So yeah, massive congratulations to them. Brilliant. And if you think about it, the old Rotherham United a little bit as well, because we let our stadium was used for the tournament.
Yeah.
We've got to take some credit for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know what and how and why, but we will take the credit when.
Well, I think what we did, we allowed France to play on the best surface in Europe for the three of their games, which gave them the opportunity to push Germany to the limit in the semi-final, which just tipped it over the edge for England, I think. Yeah. So that's the link for Rotherham United winning the Euros.
Yeah, we'll take that. Congratulations to the Lionesses. We also have a shout out for Athletic Green, who are supporting this episode. Thank you very much, Athletic Green, for their nutritional and multivitamin supplements. Michael, are you still taking Athletic Green? It's been several months now.
Yeah, I'm still taking it, mate. Still going on with it. I have to be honest, it doesn't do a great deal for COVID. But then I didn't say anything on the packet about that either. So very, very, very much recommend it. Really good, really good.
Okay. Do you feel like it helps you with your routine in the morning? That's some of the things it mentions.
It's just created a new routine. That's
what
all.
I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So good stuff.
Absolutely. So if you want to get involved with Athletic Green, if you go to athleticgreens.com/Rotherham, they will give you the vitamin D3 supplement as well as 5 free travel packs. That's athleticgreens.com/Rotherham. That just allows you to take control of your daily nutritional insurance. Thank you very much, Athletic Green, for helping out. A lot to cover from Saturday's game. Ben, it was start with just being great back at New York Stadium in the Championship. First time since I think 2019, we had a Championship game with fans in. It was great. It was really good.
Yeah, it's an amazing stadium, isn't it? The grass looked amazing. The atmosphere was good. It was just amazing being back in. To be honest, it's an amazing stadium. Sold out, I think. Was it?
Oh,
Or not? Yeah. Yeah, it was amazing all round.
yeah, absolutely. Let's cover the bad bit before we come on to the positives, because we have to talk about fans again. There was some skirmishes in the away end. Well, the away end of the family stand. There's conflicting reports on what started it. Basically irrelevant what started it. We don't want to see fans fighting at football stadiums, and it's sort of a shame. You look at it's one of the things I hate about football is that type of toxic atmosphere that it can build up. Unpleasant. Don't want to see it. It's not football. It shouldn't be football. I hope they identify anybody that was at fault, who was the cause of it, and they get a swift and quick banning order. Whatever happened for both sides. I think it's important. We don't know exactly what started it, so I'm not going to sit here and say it was Swansea's fault or Rotherham fans' fault. I hope it's identified and sorted out what the problem was, and it doesn't happen again. It can't happen again. Mick, anything to add on that? Because it was just...
It's irrelevant, really, who started it. It's absolutely irrelevant.
Yeah.
If you're stupid enough to get involved in it, then you deserve to be banned from ground, as far as I'm concerned. There's no place for it. And if your intention when you go to a football match is to get involved in a scrap, then you're a moron, an absolute moron, and you don't deserve to be allowed in. I don't want it any part of my club. I don't care whether they started it or who started it. You know what I mean? It's utterly irrelevant. It's time these people just grew up. It's really, really just beyond childish. It's not even worthy of the term childishness, is it? You know what I mean? So there was plenty of CCTV of the people involved. I saw at least one steward getting assaulted by a female Rotherham fan. These people should be banned from the ground. So fingers crossed the club takes swift and positive action and get rid of them out of our club.
100%. Essex Formula said, I think the club made a statement saying it's an automatic ban. If I'm right, yeah. If they identify who did it, or people that were involved in it, they'll hopefully hand out some bans, because we don't want to see it, Ben, do we?
Listen,
No.
let me just say one thing. Sorry, Ben, for interrupting. If the club need any help pointing them out, I'm happy to do it. More than happy. And I'll stand on now and say that, I am more than happy. Not that they need it, but...
Yeah. Shows us why were there no police in the ground. Simply put, I'm pretty sure it's a costing thing. To have police inside a football ground is extremely expensive. Football clubs. It's cheaper to pay stewards, basically, or essentially on minimum wage, trying to do that job. I do feel sorry for the stewards. They do the best job they can. But I wouldn't do that job for minimum wage to get smacked right head by some random people. Ben, anything to add?
No, not really, no.
Good. Sometimes Ben's a man of very few words.
To be fair, I don't blame him on this one. It's me, I can't keep my gob shut.
No, that's right, you can't.
It just frustrates me, that's all. There
There's
are no police.
Go on, sorry.
I'm going to say there are no police in the ground because the club has to pay for him, and the club has to pay for him because the government many years ago just cut budgets, and as a result, that was one of the things that had to go. So that's why we're in the situation that we're in. It's wrong. The police should be in there. It's a public place, at that time, and they should be in there dealing with it. But unfortunately, that's how it is.
Yes, unfortunately. So let's move on. That's the negative. Let's talk about some positives. So 1-1 draw, opening day of the season, Ben. Pre-game, would you have taken that?
Yeah. Pre-game, I listen, it was a good result. I don't really care about the result. I think the performance was genuinely, that for me right there, that is football. That is just how football should be played. That's how just football is. That's how you win games against better teams. That's how you win games against people that are better than you. It was just amazing, honestly. That was the dream. That's just how football should be played, in my opinion. It was beautiful. It was genuinely beautiful to see.
Right. Okay. That's fine.
Are you waiting for a boat?
I was waiting for a butt a little bit because I thought that is there a butt coming?
No, genuinely, that was genuinely. It's not sarcastic. I said it on the thing. That's one of the performances, in my opinion, one of the best performances I've seen at New York in terms of, like obviously you get like 6-0 wins, but that's a good performance. But this is like a proper performance. If that makes sense?
Does sort of make sense. You mean from my point?
Yeah. Winning 3-0 against Wednesday and all that's good or whatever, but that's better than that, in my opinion.
Okay, fair enough. It didn't start perfectly, mate. The first 10 minutes or so, I don't know what word to use, but the first 10 minutes wasn't brilliant. I thought we allowed Swansea to... I'm not going to dominate either because they didn't dominate at any point in that game particularly, but we allowed Swansea to have too much of the ball and we just didn't impose ourselves, I think is the right way to put it, in the first 10 minutes or so, did we?
No, we didn't get the press right to start with, which, I mean, we're away from football for 3 months, full competitive football for 3 months. So that's pretty understandable. And we're there with a new team as well. So it took them a little bit of time to get into their stride. But once they did, the press was amazing. The press was fantastic. And I'm with Ben up to a point. I think it was an outstanding overall performance by the team. But it also, for me, showed that there's plenty of room for improvement. So it was really, really positive. I thought really positive.
Yeah, certainly positive. I think it's important. That's a starting point. That can't be the peak of our performances. That's got to be where we build from. If that's the best we've got, then I think we'll be in a fight. We'll be in with a good fight. But we've got to keep improving. We've got to create more chances. I think playing a team like Swansea is maybe not the best barometer either, because not every team plays like Swansea, do they?
They don't. But I would argue against that, and I would say it's a very good barometer because you can be pretty certain that Swansea will be there or thereabouts in the playoff area. And it's very difficult to say, where exactly where. They may be pushing for automatics. They may just be pushing for the playoffs. But there's no doubt they've got a lot of quality in their side. Assuming that you just want to pass ball 500 times in 90 minutes. But yeah.
Yeah, let's not have a dig at Swansea, but let's just talk about Swansea's performance, Ben, because certainly me and Mick, I think you fall into this category as well. Me and Mick are not particularly big fans of teams like that. If that was my team, I wouldn't be such a big fan because they're championship players for a reason. If they could play the ball out all the time, then they would be in the Premier League. They would be higher. Teams like this tend to, and at times they struggle with the press. And it doesn't work if teams press that play. If every team played like that, if every other 23 teams in this division played like that, we'd be shouting for players because that's perfect for. I know we drew the game, but that is perfect for a team like us. I don't particularly like it at this level. What do you think?
No. To be fair, I would like it if Robin played it, but I don't like it if they signed Messi, Xavi, and Iniesta. 8 years ago, you can only play that system with certain players in the world. There's only a handful of players in the world that can play that system well. Some of them don't even play anymore. So yeah, I completely agree. That I don't know. It baffles me because I don't like that kind of football. It's good, like I say, when you got Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, all these players. But when you got championship quality, it don't work. It just doesn't work. And in reality, they probably should have won 1-0 because they had to score a ridiculous goal. So you know what I mean? How effective that system is proves itself to be ineffective every year in the championship.
Yeah. Well, they finished 15th last year. I know they got some defensive issues, which they hope have been fixed by Darling. We'll see on that. We will see on that. John Morell says Swansea will be probably top 12, but their defence will ultimately cost them like it did last season. Yeah, I probably agree. Let's talk about our goal. Coming to the second goal, their goal in a minute. But our first goal, mate, came from a set piece. Typical Rotherham, scoring from set pieces. Just playing into the stereotype as we do.
Yeah. I mean, what John's just said there, their defence will let them down. If you can't defend that, then you have got some serious issues. But we opened them up quite a few times in the second half as well defensively. So, but yeah, I mean, it was a typical Rotherham United goal, wasn't it? As far as Sky Sports are concerned, I'm sure they'll be ticking that box now for the rest of the season. That goal will define our season from Sky Sports point of view.
Yeah,
still got to score, haven't you?
Yeah. I thought at the time Ben Woody had flicked it on, but it weren't Woody. It was their defender that flicked it on, and Chio reacted very, very well. He didn't have much time to think, and it's a lovely just flicked on header.
Yeah, it's a striker's goal. Is what it is. It was a very good goal. I didn't think it was Chio initially because of the goal it was, because it moved quite quick. Obviously, you don't expect Chio to kind of score them goals. But it wasn't. Yeah, that if he can add that type of goal, like a striker's goal to his game, like I said yesterday, it'll be unstoppable. Yeah. Also, love a good set piece goal.
We very much do. We maybe end up being a little bit controversial here, Mick. I don't know if other people see it the same way as we do, but I know we talked about this yesterday in terms of Chio's overall performance. He scored the goal, and I think he looked dangerous at times. But for me, that was below what I expect of Chio. I'm not saying he had a bad performance. I'm not saying it was awful or anything like that. But in terms of, I don't really want to say work rate, but his press was nowhere near as good as Connor Washington's or Jamie Lindsay's or Dan Barlas's. I thought Chio's all-round game left, compared to his normal game, left a bit to be desired.
Well, I will say because I think they were up to scratch in terms of the rest of the team yesterday. I accept that he's playing a different role to what he's used to, and as a result, that may well take that might be because he needs to get used to playing in that position, or two, is there still something going off behind the scenes with this Swansea move that we're not aware of? I don't know. I just put that out there. I hope I'm wrong with that, but if I'm not, and that is it, then so be it. As long as we get a decent fee for him. But yeah, I questioned yesterday's work rate. But that's because we set a really, really, really high bar. You know what I mean? In any other team, it wouldn't even be worthy of comment. But it's probably, like you said, it's probably clutching at straws, really, in terms of finding anything that could be improved. But I was a bit. It was noticeable. Let's put it that way. I think it's probably, for me, it was noticeable. It's not a criticism. It was just something that I saw.
Yeah. We should point out Russell Martin said in his post-match interview in terms of the link for Swansea and Chio Ogbene that Russell Martin said he had never spoken to the player in his life. Well, unless you've had a bid accepted, you're not allowed to speak to him anyway. So I don't understand the comment really. You wouldn't, you can't, you don't make an offer to the player themselves.
Well, it's not a no, is it?
It's not a no, exactly. I think he's done a bit of a Paul Warner. He's been very truthful, but maybe missed out a bit, purposefully and understandably, maybe not giving us the full truth. But yeah, all I'd say is that I read that comment with skepticism. I'm sure he has never spoke to Chio. That doesn't mean he's not interested. I don't know. We have no inside information I'll add on that one. It's not like we know that there's going to be. Cheryl Stone says on Twitter that somebody's saying he's in medical there on Tuesday. I don't think that's the case. I've not heard anything. Just to pinch of salt, Mr. Martin's comments, and also the fact, Ben, that Russell Martin was very unhappy after the game. He thought his team were comfortable. I think he said something along the lines of he thought they were comfortable the better team, and should have won the game comfortably. I don't know why he didn't just say we should be beating teams like Rotherham. Then we could.
They might as well have.
It would peak, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would have. Listen, he's an idiot. Whoever, listen, he's an absolute idiot. If he thinks they're a better team, it's not. I shouldn't say that because he doesn't actually think that. He's just, I don't know, maybe trying to get a reaction from his team or something. But he probably doesn't think that. Because if he does, he's an idiot.
I think he's done a bit of a Carl Robinson and just said something for a reaction.
He's trying to get something for the team, and he's trying to prove a point, I guess.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, John Morell said, Martin moaning, imagine my shock. Yeah, it seems like one of those guys. It was MK Dons. Can you think of any other MK Dons managers who whinge a lot? Can you think of any?
No, I can't, because I like all the others that they've had.
Well, to be fair, the guy that
Now.
followed him, like Liam Manning. Remember Liam Manning last season when we beat him 3-0
Yeah.
at their place? He would exactly the same, wasn't he?
The thing with it is, Matt, they've got this, and they've got this footballing philosophy, right? That and it's almost as if they've lost sight of the point of the actual game itself. And I've said that slightly for a bit of a laugh, but also there's a certain element of truth in it, because they've become so obsessed with possession-based football, absolutely and utterly obsessed by it, that they end up as being all fur coat and no knickers, don't they? You know what I mean? It's all pretty lovely stuff, but there's no substance to it whatsoever. There's just none whatsoever. And I don't know. Listen, while other teams continue to play like that, it's just great for us. It's absolutely brilliant for us, because, you know, none of them are good enough. I'm sorry, but they're not good enough. And they won't ever be good enough unless they can afford to spend the money, like Man City and Barcelona and clubs like that are able to spend the money on the players that can actually give it some substance. Because ultimately, any team can play the ball around the back when they're not being pressed. You know, some teams can learn how to play through the press eventually, but they can't progress far enough of the field consistently enough to make it worth going through all that rigmarole to try and get to that stage. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know, it's just poor.
It's quite rare that a team that is in the Championship that is so focused on one way of playing that they're successful. You look at Fulham last year, who went up with that's because they had Mitrovic, and they played to Mitrovic's strengths. But even when Brentford went up a few years ago, people sort of look at them as a team that tried to play football, but they weren't. They were quite pragmatic in the way they did it. I struggle to think of a team that tried to play the proper way and were actually successful in the Championship. I may be wrong. I may be proven wrong very shortly, but it doesn't seem to work.
Leeds.
But they didn't, did they? But Leeds were high energy, high press. It wasn't pass the ball around at the back and then.
This is the thing. I think it was meant to be, but I don't think it worked out that way, because Bielsa's that kind of guy, isn't he? Bielsa's.
He's more high press.
I think Bielsa's Guardiola's idol, isn't he? Or Guardiola learned off Bielsa or something like that. So I think it probably was meant like that, but it just didn't turn out that way. Which furthers your point.
Yeah. To be successful in the Championship, you've got to have a bit of pragmatism. Norwich are a very good example. Norwich were the best team in the Championship 2 years ago, but you couldn't pin them down as a way of playing, I didn't think. They're just some individually amazing players.
It's about winning games. That's all, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just about winning games and fighting every single game. Whatever.
Yeah, I agree. I think we all agree. Let's talk about the Swansea goal, Ben. Now, this is frustrating. I've seen a bit of criticism that we didn't close the man down. And I understand the criticism to a point. The problem I have leads into what we've just been talking about, is that Swansea were essentially refusing to shoot from more than it appeared to be, about 8 yards out. They had so many chances in the first half an hour to pull the trigger from the edge of the box, and they just refused. They just didn't do it. They were looking for that extra pass, that extra movement. And then suddenly they pop up from 30 yards and he belts one in. I don't understand how we're meant to predict that's going to happen. Because
so if I said before the game, right, if they're just going to pass it about, they're just going to pass it about. And I said their centre half has got it. And I said you can either go out and press him and drag a man out of position and create an open gap, or you can let him have it. You know, you keep your line and you press players. And if a centre half scores a 30-yard screamer, a centre half scores a 30-yard screamer, there's nothing you can do about it. There's some goals in football, or there's some certain situations where if you concede, you concede. You can't do anything about it. Because if you put it, I'm not a football manager, I'm not a tactician, but my understanding is that every time I played football, if one man goes out, that line is then unstructured and passed right in behind, and now they're closer to the goal and better off chance to attack. Whereas if you give it a centre half a 30-yard shot, 999 times out of 1,000, that's in Rose head. and he just ends up in top corner. And it ends up in top corner is what it is. You go again, you know what I mean? You can't do anything. That's a 1 in a million goal. He'll never, like you said, he'll never hit the ball as clean in his life, that lad. It is what it is. There's some goals you can't stop.
Could not have put it better myself, Ben. Could not have worded it better. But
Can I just say as well, there's a saying in America, it's perfect offense will always beat perfect defense. And that's just true. You can't stop that. That's a perfect goal and defended perfectly, but he just went in.
It's like Americans having some sensible saying.
Yeah, Nick, and I couldn't. Ben's just worded it perfectly for me.
Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it for me.
Yeah, and no blame to Victor either, Mick.
Well, you could have. I mean, I suppose what you could have done is brought Josh Chapman on as well, and hope that one of them might have got an answer to it. No.
Yeah,
absolutely none.
Yeah, it's very. I think what happens in football nowadays, in terms of Twitter and things like that, is you see a goal and you think, well, this could have done this, could have done that, could have done this, could have done other. Yeah, so yeah, you're right, but that didn't make sense before it happened. But before it happened, you know, it's capped in hindsight. I think anyway. Yeah, no blaming anybody. Yeah, move on. Their keeper's pulled up a good save. I think we were 1-0 at the time, though, Ben from Chio Bene's bicycle kick. We put them under a reasonable amount of pressure. I think we've got a comment at the top from when we first started about we had the most shots from anybody in the FL yesterday. Steve Adams said, I know Matt loves his stats. IOC had more shots on target than anybody else in the Championship last season. And that's what it's about. It's not about keeping ball. It's about making their defence and their keeper getting something to think about. And that was a really, really good save their keeper pulled off from Chio.
Yeah, on a different day, that's 4-1. You know, if Barlas, Kelly, and Chio all score their chances, it's 4-1. You know what I mean? On a different day, 4-0. On a different day, it could be 4-0. It's just one of them things, isn't it? It's a good save. That's it. Great from Chio. Great instinct again from Chio. Yeah, it's just that's just a good bit of play by everyone involved. Good shot, good save.
Yeah, absolutely. We're probably going to go through most individual points. I think most players on the pitch deserve a mention for one reason or another, to be honest with you. But we can't finish the sort of match review, Mick, without talking about Michael Obafemi and what I think is the worst miss New York Stadium has ever seen. And that's
I mean, we've had Freddie Ladapo for 3 seasons. You see, he's saying something there.
Yeah, you're right. I can't think of anything. That was just gifted, and he's just done that. I can't believe he missed it. Cannot believe he's missed it. It was genuinely unbelievable, wasn't it?
I thought at the time he was trying to pull it back across goal. But
that'd be peak Swansea, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah. Wouldn't it just?
It would. Yeah.
Since he's off the line, he decides to pull it back across goal. But having seen it from the other end, from the other side of the ground, from where the camera is, I mean, it was just, I don't know. I don't know. What are you doing? Why did you do that? I mean, it was almost as though he aimed it there, you know what I mean? Which is why, because obviously we were on the opposite side of the ground to it, so it looked like it genuinely did look like he was trying to pull it back towards penalty spot or whatever. Maybe he just lost his bearings, thought he was closer to line than he was, and was trying to pull it back. I don't know, but I mean, yeah, he should have buried it. But then there are other chances that, you know, we could have buried as well. So again, it is what it is, isn't it? You know. Ultimately, that game could have been 4 apiece.
Yeah,
with a reasonably clear-cut chances. Clearly, that was the most clear-cut chance out of all the others. But there were still plenty of chances. And like I said, it could have been 4 apiece.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, I think that's fair. John Morell says the worst thing is he scored a worldie against Birmingham last season. I think he's got worldies in his lockers. I think he's fairly young, though, to be fair to him, to give him a little bit of leeway. It's just nice.
Is he from Southampton? Is he from Southampton? Or?
He plays for Ireland. He made his debut over at summer for Republic of Ireland.
I don't know why, but I associate that name with Southampton. I don't know if that's completely wrong.
Ben nailed this, you know. Yeah, he played 32 times for Southampton, and he came through. He didn't come through the youth system; he actually came through somebody else's. But yeah, well, he was from Southampton. Well done, Ben.
That's because you told him last time to do some research, Matt.
No, that's actually from football. That's actually from Football Manager.
Do you notice that because you said it's on Football Manager, Ben? That's suddenly worth less to me.
Yeah.
It's like it's not a valid opinion because you got.
It's not true either, is it? It's just made up.
Yeah. So let's go through some individual performances. Do you want to go back to front to back? What do you want to do?
Back to front.
Back to front. Fine. Let's start with Victor. Victor got the gloves, Ben. It was a bit of a toss-up. I think Victor had the gloves at the end of last season. Gets the gloves now. Didn't have a great deal to do. I mean, he pulled off one unbelievable save in the second half, which was the pick of the bunch, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I imagine that's that kind of a keeper's worst nightmare. You know, nothing to do and see a 30-yard screamer. You know, that's kind of a worst day, isn't it? It's kind of a worst day possible. But yeah, just sound came out and covered for Kyoso, made up for Kyoso, not tracking and running in the second half. And that save was, at the time, I thought I could save it straight at him. And I saw it replay, it weren't. It was a bit out to his right, so it was a phenomenal save that kept us in game. But yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah. Anything to add, Mick?
No. I thought. I mean, that saving second half from that one-handed flying save were a worldie, an absolute worldie. I have seen some criticism on Twitter of him today for some bizarre reason, but none with any sort of substance. Well,
it's just his kicking
any substance of any kind.
It's just sometimes his kicking. I think when he's under pressure, I think his kicking going a bit away. But again, we're in Championship. You're not going to get there's not most keepers are going to kick it to a bit not iffy. You're going to make a few mistakes kicking when they're under pressure. I think it wasn't for me. It wasn't terrible, but there was a kick or two that went wayward. That's all I'd say.
Bit harsh, but whatever.
No,
yeah, he's a great player.
I don't think.
I'm biased, but love him to bits.
Yeah, we do. Geraldine Simpson says she saw the same criticism. He's a wild card, but a true keeper's instinct. Yeah,
absolutely.
He made a good save. He didn't really make any mistakes. That's what you want from your keeper. Perfect.
100%.
Moving on to the defenders, Grant Hall made his debut, and Cameron Humphreys Grant made his debut as well. But let's start with Richard Wood, Ben. There was lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of criticism about Richard Wood in pre-season. I felt it was unjust and it was unnecessary. Thoughts?
It is unjust. We're criticising him because he's 30, 36, whatever he is. He's 36. He's barely seen him play football, and we're criticising him because he's 36. People can still play football at a very high level at 36. You don't decrease in ability at 36. Well, not everyone does. Some people do. Some people don't. I think that's a huge misconception in sports. You know, you decrease in age. No, that's just a misconception. So yeah, I play every week for me. If he's fit enough and if he can play like that, he play every week because you can see him leading Humphreys and you can see him, you know, just getting that back line and he's just a leader. Having him in the team benefits everybody. It just makes everyone better. He's just a good player. Every week for me, if he's, depending on how his body's feeling and you know what his injury risk is like and stuff like that, I'd play him as much as possible.
Yeah, I do wonder these people that criticise him, and that you're entitled to your opinion. That's fine. If you see him playing pre-season and you think he was rubbish, that's fine. But how many seasons do you have to say at the start of the season that Woody looks rubbish for him to start and be good? Have we not learned his lesson?
It's his age. He's 36, so he's a bad footballer.
5 years, haven't they? People have been saying this.
People say it's 31, 32. He's 32 now. He's a bad footballer. No, he's not a bad footballer.
But then he plays in the season, and it turns out he's still quite good.
Yeah, because age doesn't matter. Some people do decrease. Some people, when you don't rely on athleticism, like someone like Woody, who has not had, with all due respect, not had the greatest athleticism throughout his career, you have to rely on other things, and them other things you can still rely on until you're in your 40s.
Yeah.
So every week for me, like I've said.
Yeah. Write Richard Wood off at your peril.
Yeah.
Chris Taylor said he saw Victor in the lounge after the game, and he's not very big for a goalie. No, I agree.
He's not got the size for a goalie, but he's got the mental state for a goalkeeper, hasn't he? You know, he's completely mad.
Yeah. Got the heart of a goalkeeper, definitely. Grant Hall's one of those, Mick, that he had a good game. I don't think Paul won't say he's not up to speed. He's not fully fit. And if he's not fully fit, that's really, really good, because he didn't put a foot wrong. He wasn't. Oh my God, he's amazing. He just did a job. A little bit like Woody. He just did a job and was very, very solid.
Yeah. I think I don't know whether it was Ben that said this after the game, but he's one of those players that, or maybe he's one of those players that if you don't see him, you know he's had a decent game, and we didn't really see anything of him. You know, he just did what he had to do, did it effectively, got on with it, got on with his job. He's clearly not fit. He's clearly not able to perform for 90 minutes at the moment, but that's understandable, bearing in mind the lack of game time that he's had and the lack of pre-season that he's had. So, damn good acquisition for me. Really, really good acquisition, because I think, much like Peltier, I think he's another Richard Wood. You know, he's of that ilk. Highly, highly experienced player, but just a solid player. There's no flair. There's nothing there in terms of pulling any trees up, if you like. But he will absolutely do the job. So yeah, good signing for me, that.
Yeah, agreed. A couple in the comments. Cheryl Stone asks, anyone know why we've narrowed the pitch? Now, I don't know this for certain, but I don't think we have narrowed the pitch. The lines that you saw that were green were because of the Euros. UEFA will have a set standard. You've got to have the pitch for it. So that's why they were still there, because the game was only last week. And they've got to cover them with something. I would put money on it, that pitch size we had yesterday being the normal pitch size we had last season. That's not been confirmed by the club or Paul Davis or anything, but that's what I would put a lot of money on, to be honest with you. And Powerwide UK says, love the new advertising boards. Yeah, I did as well, to be honest with you. Look very good, look very smart. The other central defender, the talk of, Benjamin, is the young lad, Cameron Humphreys. Made his debut, I think his debut in English football, I might be wrong, but I think it's pretty sure it's his debut in English football. I am very excited from what I saw. If that's his debut, if that's the base he's building off, I'm very excited for what's to come.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think whoever said it, I can't remember who said it. It might have been that the Belgian expert or whatever said that he plays better with like a leader, and that kind of did show. He did not jump out of position, but he did some things where if you haven't got someone who understands, right, he's doing that, so I need to do this and cover for him, then that's going to create problems. So I did kind of get that, but yeah, he's a good player, man. He runs a bit weird. He runs like a robot type thing. But he's good, man. He's good. I was really impressed with him. I was really impressed with everybody. Genuinely, everybody on that pitch.
Yeah. Essex O'Miller says he looks solid and dangerous. Don't think he put a foot wrong all game. Yeah, Mick, and this is key. This guy's not on loan. This is our man for 3 years, a 3-year contract. He was big, he was strong. I didn't put a foot wrong most of the game. He looked fairly quick as well. He could take the ball down. His ball control looked very solid as well. Yesterday, for me, there wasn't a downside to his performance. Obviously, there are going to be downsides, and he's not a perfect player yet, obviously. But there were so many positives to take from his performance.
Look, he's a central defender, so he's going to have some mistakes, and central defenders do that. They don't have any more mistakes than anybody else, but those mistakes are highlighted because of the position that they play in. But he looks some player. I mean, I'm only obviously basing that on 90 minutes. However, he does look some player, that lad. I'm amazed that we've managed to bag him, and it's only going to benefit us in the long run. So yeah, really, really impressed with him. Very, very impressed with him.
Yeah, 100%. Very excited. He's our boy. So let's move on. Shall we have a quick chat about the referee, Michael, before we move on, Phil? Let's get it out of the way. Matt Donoghue How can I word it? Inconsistent. Very, very, very inconsistent.
Yeah. Just obviously not read the rule book or the EFL's current edict about what is and isn't a foul, or remembered it periodically, I think, didn't he?
Yeah.
It's probably a better way of putting it. No real howlers from him, were there? But it was very, very inconsistent. You know, it gave a foul for a two-handed pushing back. I said two-handed pushing back. Two hands in the back of a Swansea player. It wasn't a push, it was just two hands in the back. Gave it 20 minutes later, exactly the same with Chio. Two hands in the back, probably wasn't a foul. Didn't give it, you know, right in front of the linesman. It's just, it's the same old story week in, week out. Just inconsistent. But thankfully, there were no stupid howlers for this time. So at least I suppose he's going to be able to go on yesterday and not have to write a grovelling apology to anybody, is he? For his incompetence. So every day is just, you know, a decent day for him, that, I suppose.
Yeah, true. Very true. Ben, yeah, like it was just inconsistent. I don't know.
Yeah, there was it was very big club, little club. That's the one thing I noticed for me. I mean, we had a chance. But even in the first 5 minutes, we were getting a lot of momentum, pressing. Gives a free kick that's not a free kick. Just slows the game down completely for Swansea. That is so beneficial for Swansea. It's unreal. And just fell into it, and then doesn't do the same. You know, when it's us, and it's just unfair. It's just little club, big club, and I can't stand it. I mean, there was a time where we were pressing them, and I can't remember who it was. I think it was Lindsay. It was in their box, fighting football, and their player like kind of jumped in front of him and like fell over to clear it, and he gives a foul, and it's like, that's not a foul. You just don't want us to score. That's actually the feeling that I got. You do not want us to get momentum in this game, and it's just annoying. It's awful. It is awful. Genuinely awful. It changes the way that managers and players have to play the game. It changes the way that you have to manage the game, because you can't do what you normally do, because what you normally do is relying on people enforcing the rules, and that's not going to happen.
There was an incident in the second half as well, which kind of falls into the time wasting bracket. It took Swansea 40 seconds to take a throw in, just to take a throw in. And that was the throw in where the referee told the player to get back. He then threw the ball into play. And instead of giving us the throw in, which he should have done, which the rules say that he should have done, he then gave the throw back to Swansea and made him go back. And those are the sort of inconsistencies that frustrate players, they frustrate supporters, because there's such obvious, blatant misapplication of the rules. You know, we're not going to allow time wasting, but we'll let you take 40 seconds to take a throw in.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre. It doesn't make any sense. And I think that's what's frustrating for a lot of people as well. You know, it's the nonsense. It's the nonsense of it. People can't make sense. They can't understand why these things happen. You know, the same thing happens twice on a football pitch, and there's a different decision each time.
Yeah,
and it's just bizarre. It's bizarre. You would have hoped with that new edict about, you know, it being a contact sport and everything else, this getting yourself between the player and the ball and throwing yourself on the floor would have no longer been a foul, but that seems not to be the case. It's poor, isn't it? But to be expected.
Also,
at least we weren't Bristol City. You know, the penalty that they gave against them against Hull, you know, where he's gone for a tackle and then taken 5 or 6 paces and thrown himself on the floor and then gets a penalty for it, which was bizarre.
Oh well, yeah.
So, we'll get
Can we just say about referees, about the Lee Tomlin? Love
best
that.
thing ever.
That's good refereeing.
That was very good refereeing. The Lee Tomlin red card was very, very good refereeing.
Yeah.
Because he tried to con him and tried to get other guys sent off as well.
But I think the referee was the guy who squared up to that player, wasn't it? I
Aaron
can't remember his
Drysdale,
name.
wasn't it?
Yeah, he's a good referee because he takes no prisoners, and that was excellent, absolutely excellent. Why can't everybody be like him? You know, just be positive and consistent.
It was excellent refereeing, but more importantly, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
One thing for me, with the referee, we seem to have stopped implementing the foul throw law, whatever you want to call it. There must have been 10 foul throws yesterday from Swansea. There must have been at least 10. It's not a single one given. I don't understand. If that's an under-8s game, they're all given as foul throws. They have to retake the throws or whatever. Because it's senior football, it doesn't matter as much. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Either get rid of the foul throw law and just let people do whatever they want and throw it however they want, or enforce it. It's one or the other. It's a bit of a gripe of mine, but we'll move on. Moving forward in terms of individual performance, I can't believe it's taken us 46 minutes to mention Jamie Lindsay, to be honest with you. That's a bit bad on our part, to be honest with you, because he was immense. Jamie Lindsay, IUFC said Jamie Lindsay is world class. Jamie says, this is Jamie Lindsay, but Jamie on YouTube says, Jamie Lindsay, man of the match for me, was outstanding, really got in the face. And Showy IUFC says, how good was Jamie Lindsay? He suits the championship, mate. He just suits the championship, doesn't he?
Yeah, the best player on pitch.
He
was the best player on the pitch. There's no question about that, in my view. I'm biased because I'm a Rotherham United supporter, obviously. But for all their ticky-tacky, playing it around, sweet little runs off the ball, playing it backwards 57 times and everything else, and all the skills that they showed, Jamie Lindsay showed heart, he showed balls, he broke the play up, he led the press, he did everything right. He fouled when he needed to foul. You know, everything about his game yesterday was absolutely outstanding. And the person I feel sorry for at the moment is Ollie Rathbone, because he ain't getting back in that team at the moment. While ever Jamie Lindsay is performing like that at championship level, Ollie's going to be end up warming bench for a bit, which is a shame. But he was absolutely outstanding, Jamie. Outstanding for me.
Yeah, he just screams Rotherham United, Ben, to me, Jamie Lindsay. To be fair to him, in League One, it's not like he played badly. But if somebody says to me, right, what does Rotherham United look like? You find me a player, and what does Rotherham United look like in terms of how you like them to play? Jamie Lindsay. That's how I want my team to play.
100%. That's with the way that we played yesterday. It just sums it up. That's just how you play football. Is just defensively sound, going into tackles, just being physical. Physical. I know that referees won't like to hear that. They don't like that word, do they? But making contact, it is allowed, as contrary to popular belief. It is allowed in football, and just making that contact, being physical, because people don't like it, especially in nowadays game. And nowadays game, especially, people don't like contact. People don't like it, and once you give it, they'll back off. And I disagree with Mick about him being best player on pitch. I think Connor Washington for me was the best player on pitch, but
we'll come on to that. Come on to that in a minute. There's going to come a time in this season, Mick, where we're going to have to find a way to fit those 4 midfielders into the team, because you can't drop Jamie Lindsay. But if that's his performance going forward, which I think it will be, there's no reason to think that's going to change. Dan Barlas was excellent for me yesterday. Ben Wiles had a bit of an off day, but wasn't bad. And I feel like that game, I think we've got a comment here. Shell Stone says, shame we missed Ollie. That game would have suited him. Yeah, it would. I think Jamie Lindsay and Ollie Rathbone could work really well together. I don't know if there is a way of playing. I don't know if you could play Barlasser and Wiles as almost, they had 2 advanced 10s, which Paul Warne has talked about, playing 2 advanced 10s. I know you're losing a second striker, but there may need to be a point where we need all 4 of those players, because all 4 make such an impact.
Yeah, absolutely. And it will depend on who we're playing, won't it? I guess. But having said that, you would have thought perhaps that playing a team like Swansea, or highly possession based, having 2 players like that in the middle of the park would have been a better option. I don't know. Yeah, there may come a time, but one replaces the other. They're both excellent combating midfielders. I just feel that Jamie Lindsay's championship experience will stand him in better stead.
There's some
Certainly
seagulls
for the
going on
opening part
behind
of the
me.
season. I don't know. I've got my headphones on, but yeah, there are.
Yeah, we should have pointed. We didn't say at the start of the episode. Nick's in a car park in Wales.
Yeah, of course.
And we'll be the next episode, I think, as well.
Yeah, probably
on Thursday. So if you hear any seagulls in the background, it's not. They're not Rotherham seagulls.
No, I'm not. I'm actually at Tip. I'm at Carlisle Hill Tip. That's making it seagulls.
Yeah, it's gone to Trip trying to whip up a new sponsor for podcasts. Yeah. Dan Barlaser, I thought was excellent yesterday, Ben. I thought he started the press at times. I thought we asked him to play a bit further forward. He certainly wasn't the sitting midfielder he was last season. I thought we asked him to be a bit more proactive. I thought it was excellent yesterday, Barlaser.
Yeah, it was definitely asked to start the press. That was evident, and he did it so well. He did it for 90 minutes. It was just amazing. It was amazing. Calm up ball, pressed really well.
Almost scored.
Yeah, it was almost scored. It was amazing. It was just amazing. Yeah, it was so good. It's hard to find words because everyone on that team yesterday, for me, was amazing. He don't change. He stays in that squad. If he can play like that every week and press like that every week, we'll go far in this league.
Yeah, agreed. Nicholas Skidmore says, did we ever catch that sniper that took out Ben Wild? Oh, what a run that were, Mick. What an unbelievable run that were.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that went 4-on-2, I think, at one point. We were absolutely steaming away with that, and that was almost a guaranteed goal, you know. And then he just went and threw himself on the floor.
Poor lad. We're not going to sit and criticise Wiles. He just had a quiet game by his own standards. We all know how big a season it is for him this year. If he performs well in the Championship this year, the sky's then the limit. If he doesn't perform, then there's obviously questions, but we all believe in him. So I think it's going to be a good season. Hopefully. Amy Woolhouse in the comments says, can we have a shout out for Shane Ferguson, who she thought was outstanding to yesterday? Very underrated in his opinion. Again, Ben, I think he might be somebody who suits us better in the Championship because he's a proper wing back who's quite good defensively. And we didn't really need that at times last season in the League One. So it made him look a bit negative at times in League One. But in the Championship, I think it works.
Yeah, obviously playing Harding and Ferguson yesterday was obviously a more defensive approach. And yeah, I agree with that. I think he's obviously more defensive and attacking. Obviously, can go forward. I think he scored a ridiculous. When he first signed it, scored a screamer for Ireland or something.
He did have Northern Ireland,
screamer. So yeah, he is more defensive player, but it was good again. Pressing, just being defensively sound, and just winning his battles and just doing his job. It was just everyone did it. It was so good. So good to see.
He's also another one that's a bit like the Jamie Lindsay, Mick, where he just likes to get in people's faces and just upset them and unsettle the opposition.
Yeah.
And I love that. I just love it.
Yeah. He's another typical Rotherham United player.
Yeah.
You know, he just is in your face. It's clearly a quiet, unassuming lad. You know, even just to look at him, you know, if you had to judge his personality by just looking at him, you think, you know what, he's just a quiet, nice, lovely bloke. Until he gets on the football pitch and then he's in your face. He's snapping at your ankles. He's really, really getting on your nerves. And that's the kind of player that he is. But he's very, very effective at it as well. I like him a lot. I like Shane Ferguson a lot.
Yeah. I think he's going to be a big player for us this year. I think he's going to play a lot of minutes. I also think we'll come on to Cohen Bramall now. I think it's going to be important for Cohen Bramall. There's what a player to look up to for Cohen Bramall to look up to and look at Shane Ferguson and learn from him. And then add into his pace, Ben, Cohen Bramall. I did tell you all that Cohen Bramall was very fast. You didn't believe me with that fast, did you?
No, when you said he was fast, I thought it was fast, not that fast. That was ridiculous. I've never seen anything like that in my life. That was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. And we nearly scored from it. You know, it wasn't no end. It wasn't like there was no end product like there were with like John Taylor and stuff like that. It was nearly scored from it.
It was one of those runs. I don't know. I was in a conversation with somebody yesterday. It might have been you, Ben. As he set off and it gets into full flow, you could almost hear the whole stadium have a sharp intake of breath, all as one. I've never seen anything like that on a football pitch. I don't think I could ever remember seeing anybody breeze past anybody like that on a football pitch ever. It was ridiculous. It may well be. It may have looked better because the Swansea players didn't track back with him or whatever. I don't know, but he just absolutely left him for dead. So brilliant. He's got some pace, has that lad. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's about getting up pitch. We talked about this in our pre-season episodes. It's about having players that can get you up a pitch and then make the opposition have a thought. Because if the opposition know you've got Cohen Bramall who can just breeze past them like that, they're then less likely to want to throw kitchen sink at you because they've got to think, oh God, what if he bombs on or if Chio bombs on? It gives us something to make them think. Whereas we didn't have that last time. I don't recall really having that in Championship because Chio were injured for a lot of the time. We never really had that. I wonder if he's going to breeze past us. So I think Kyoso's obviously not as quick, but I think he's got a bit of pace behind him. So we're going to run out of time in a minute, but let's talk about. You want to talk about Connor Washington, Ben? I'm very happy to give you the floor. He obviously doesn't have Smith's physicality. That's very, very obvious, but he's much more mobile than Smith, and the press. His work rate was as good as Michael Smith for me, as good.
Yeah, I don't care about that physicality. That right there is that is the most unselfish position you can play in football. A striker who just presses. He was tracking back at left back at one point, and he just did his job. It was so good. It was so good because he just pressed and just did basic things that don't take loads amount of effort, but not everyone does. It was so good. It was so good. Genuinely. And I don't care. People say, oh, he didn't score 10, 15 goals. I don't care. I could not care less if he doesn't score all season. If he can play like that every season, we'll win games. We will win games because we won't concede. That's how you don't concede. The first step to winning games is not conceding. If we don't concede all year, we'll stay up. So,
well, obviously, yeah.
If he plays like that, amazing.
Yeah. I probably agree. He also could have stole Chio's goal. He was in a position to throw himself at it. It was right not to because you risked the offside, but he was in a position to score that goal. He just chose not to because it was already going in. I think that's worth mentioning. He was in a position to score. Very, very happy with him. Georgie Kelly came on, Mick. This time we saw him for, 24 minutes plus injury time. There's certainly something there with Georgie Kelly. He mentioned in an interview with some Irish paper that he questions his own technique. And I think he's very, very unorthodox. But defenders didn't know what to do with him. They didn't have a clue what they were going to do next, did they?
I can see why, if you're not absolutely brimming with self-confidence, why you would question your own technique. Because as a fan, you would also question his technique. It's not orthodox. It's not normal. It's not, and it's not something you can put your finger on. We've only seen very little. We've seen very little of him, haven't we? So it's not something you can put your finger on and say, it's because he does this or he does the other. I don't know what it is, but my God, is he going to be a handful? Is he going to be a handful? He's got the touch, without a shadow of a doubt. He's got the pace, I suspect, although we've not seen that much of it at the moment. He's certainly got the physicality. And I'll tell you what, he does know where goal is.
That shot.
He's the shot on target within minutes of coming on. He's not even up to the pace of the game, and he's already got the ball, got away from the defender, and had a shot on target. So he is a real prospect, and I can see why Paul Warne's gone for him, and I can see why Paul Warne was so keen to get him. It's going to be really interesting to see how he develops over this season. So yeah, absolutely, really, really looking forward to seeing more of Georgie Kelly.
Yeah, big time. Essex Summerall in the comments says she spoke to Ben Wiles after the game yesterday. He had no idea why he fell over. She ended up calling him an idiot. He thanked me, and that's how the conversation went.
I can't imagine you calling him an idiot, Grace. Oh wait, no, I can.
Yeah. We've gone through most of the players, but we haven't gone through everybody. Is there anybody else you want to shout out that had a good game? Basically, everybody had a decent enough game, or decent or good game. Anybody else you want to shout out? Mick, how do you want to shout Wes out?
I always shout Wes out. I played in 2 positions, didn't put a foot wrong all game, and I just love him. He's brilliant. He's brilliant. I'd have posters on my wall if I was 15. It's a bit
Ben,
sad, though,
anybody else we haven't mentioned? Kyoso?
No, I'd just say Hardy as well. Just defensively sound. Just good.
The thing with Wes is this level suits him better than League One does. To me, I think he's more of a Championship player than he's a League One player. So it's great to see him. It's great to see him developing again because he is certainly developing.
Yeah, I assume he's in last year's contract as well. That's certainly something to think about. I assume
you would think so, wouldn't you?
Contract. Yeah,
might be a worry.
Yeah, sign him on. Sign him up. There we go. First game in the bag. First point in the bag. Still unbeaten, which is important. Didn't break that duck roll, Ben, of winning our first home game. First game of the season at home on the open day of the season, which is disappointing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not as bad as losing though.
That's very true. Yeah, I think we just about covered everything. Thank you everyone who watched the instant reaction that was on YouTube. That'll be out. We'll do one of those for every home game and the occasional away game. So make sure you subscribe to YouTube. Danny's matchday vlog is up on YouTube. So if you've been too busy today watching the sport, watching the F1, the cricket, the Women's Euros, now's the time to go and watch Danny's matchday vlog. And relive yesterday's 1-1 draw. We will be back on Thursday, where it's time to look ahead to Coventry. Before we leave, have you seen the state of the pitch in Coventry?
No.
They're using it for the sevens, the rugby sevens in the Commonwealth Games. If you get a chance over the next few days, try and watch some of the rugby sevens. The pitch is, we're sitting now a week ahead of the game. The pitch is an absolute disgrace already.
Really?
And they've got the reason we're not playing Saturday is because they've got something on, I think, on the Saturday. So it's not going to get any better.
How are we going to play our silky smooth passing along floor football?
No.
Well, there's no way we're going to create. We're going to complete 600 passes in that game, is there? Yeah. It's just not going to happen. Just think what Swansea manager's going to have to say if he gets there in the next few weeks. Oh, he's going to be absolutely apoplectic, and he's going to be.
Yeah. Well, this is only when the pitch is good. This is the time. It's not going to get better. You know, when it gets to January, the pitch is not going to be better, is it? Oh, you wouldn't have thought. All the other month, we have a month break actually, don't we? In December, so maybe it will be. Yeah. Please subscribe on the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Please give us a 5-star rating on iTunes, Spotify, and subscribe if you haven't already. Like so, back on Thursday, the Scouting Report will return, as we'll hear from some Coventry fans about what to expect from them. They've drawn on the opening day to Sunderland. So, yeah, there we go. The season's underway.
Hey. Come
Nick,
on.
I hope the car park in Wales is kind to you.
Always.
Is it a different car park or is it the same one?
Same car park, mate. Next to Co-op. I'm off to get a beer now.
Is it still open?
Well, if you stop talking, it might still be open.
What time's it open till?
I've no idea, mate. I'm not an idiot. I got it beforehand.
Oh, fair enough. Ben, nice to speak to you, and it was nice to see you buy your first legal pint yesterday. That was an enjoyable moment.
Thank you.
Yeah, next time, make sure it's not Carlin though.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. Thank you, everybody. It's been a pleasure, and we'll see you all on Thursday. Thank you very much.
Ravel, vicious, but brilliant. Mule with it. Wood's got round the back, and Richie Wood has done it again. The magic man has come up with another trick. Well, here's a chance to seal it.